NathanIvy.com. Mr. Ivy know the show must go on. As far as Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised arms, closed fists, yeah, too strong. Team AI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real, jumping like hopscotch. Nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlatives, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? Jono be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of Drippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 5-1-3, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. My people at.
Artificial intelligence and its inherent bias may not be as judgmental as previously thought, at least in the case of home loans. According to a study from the National Economic Research, the use of algorithms for online mortgage lending can reduce discrimination against minorities. This could end up becoming the main tool in closing the racial wealth gap, especially as banks start using AI for lending decisions. The study found that in-person mortgage lenders typically reject minority applicants at a rate of 6% higher than those of whites. However, when the application was online and involved an algorithm to make the decision, the acceptance and rejection rates were the same. That's your Bloomberg Urban Report. I'm Donna Wilson.
Happy New Year. Welcome back, everybody. Live, local, and vocal. I believe that we're broadcasting live over the internet. And I believe that we are connected and ready to rock. A few minutes after 8 a.m. this morning. And as As you may know, my name is Nathan Ivy. Nathaniel Ivy with you. And as always, my pleasure. Pardon me. Okay, so it's the first show of the year. So I plan to talk about three things to look out for. These are not all political things. As a matter of fact, it's more than three things that should be or maybe you will consider putting this on your radar screen for 2020. It's a mixture of people, politics, and pleasure from my perspective. I want to share that with you during the first hour. I also want to talk about all of the numerous shootings that happened on New Year's Eve. Have you seen the reporting? I live in the city of Cincinnati. There's a lot of people that talk about Cincinnati don't live in Cincinnati, but I live in Cincinnati, born and raised in Cincinnati. And I live in the city. And on New Year's Eve, my neighbors had to show off all their firearms. I mean, they was firing weapons for things like 30 minutes, just going nuts with it. And there were a lot of people who were shot, some accidentally. Now, I get it. You got a firearm. I think it's customary. I'm not sure how that really started. But damn, yo, they was firing all kind of weapons. I'm like, what? Police, it's been reported, had 168 incidents of shots fired in Cincinnati alone. Speaking of which, ShotSpotter, which is some technology that they say is new. Pardon me. I know things are always being updated, but New York experimented with this kind of technology back in the early 2000s, maybe even I want to say 90s, but I think early 2000s is the 2000s are very appropriate to say. And if you're not aware what ShotSpotter does, essentially they use technology to locate the exact point. I think they can come within, they say 30 feet, whenever a firearm is discharged. So unless you have some kind of muffler or a silencer to mitigate the sound, then it'll use that to sort of triangulate right where it is. And from what I understand, the technology uses like a series of microphones, right? And people are okay with it because it's not video. If it was video, then people would have a problem with it. Because it's audio and it's microphones, people are like, oh, it's no big deal. Now, I think that's a slippery slope because, I mean, it's not that big of a stretch to go from, having a neighborhood that has microphones on all the tall buildings to having a neighborhood that has video cameras everywhere, right? It's surveillance society. And they started this in Avondale, and then it expanded to another neighborhood. But now in the new year, in the new decade, they're going to be expanding it into a lot of new neighborhoods. And apparently it costs a lot of money. I think it's bias because, shootings happen everywhere. Shootings can happen in every neighborhood. You can have emergent situations where shots are fired in any neighborhood, like on the banks. There was like some people that got killed on the banks late last year in 2019. Some kind of bar fight or some kind of interaction. But they're going to put it in the neighborhoods where statistically, I guess they're quote unquote hot spots. And they say that it makes things safer, but I don't know. It just seems like, it seems like the balloon effect. I could see the balloon effect being at work with the whole ShotSpotter thing. Just like many years ago, there was a big conversation about having cameras in Evanston at the 5 Points, and these are going to be crime cameras. It's going to stop the dope dealers. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, the dope dealers are a little bit smarter than that. If you put a camera up, they're going to be like, there's a camera there. Let's not do any crimes in front of the camera. And I think that's essentially what happened. But the balloon effect is like, if you take a balloon that's full of air and you squeeze it, what happens to it? Well, the pressure point in which you're squeezing at, that starts to get smaller due to the pressure. But all it really does is expand the air at another part of the balloon. And I wonder if that's what's happening with ShotSpotter. I don't know. Smarter people than me, I guess, say that this is like a big deal. But I mean, if that was the case, I say put ShotSpotter in all the schools. Put ShotSpotter on every bank. Anywhere there's a financial transaction, put every bar. I mean, I think we should go. To me, ShotSpotter is an all or nothing type of deal. You know what I'm saying? It's every neighborhood, every street, or again, it feels like the balloon effect. But my neighbors went crazy with it. So what does ShotSpotter do on New Year's Eve? do they turn it off? You know what I'm saying? Because the technology is going to pick up all kinds of shots being fired because people are celebrating and they want their neighbors to know they have guns. You know, when people do that in a city, I mean, is that just them celebrating, or are they kind of like, yeah, hey, we got weapons over here, we want you to know? I don't know. Shout out to my friends and people listening on TuneIn. If you don't know, TuneIn is an app where the Nathan Ivey Show is carried, and you can actually listen to the live broadcast on TuneIn as well. Some people say it's better quality. It's been a while. Well, I don't listen to the show live because I'm actually doing the show, but I've been using other apps and haven't really been tuned in to TuneIn. But if you're on TuneIn this morning, thank you for listening, and I really appreciate you. Yes. Good morning, choppers. So here we are a few days into the new year, and I don't do resolutions because they don't work. But unlike everybody else, I mean, I take the passage of the new season, the new year, to just reflect and, look forward like everybody else. So hopefully you had a great New Year's. Hopefully you got a chance to relax and do your thing. And I saw many, many photographs of family. But now it's into a new year. It's 2020. It's the year of the presidential election. It's the year of so many local elections here in Cincinnati. And I plan for the Nathan Ivey Show to be front row center in some of those local conversations to give you as much information and also some intelligent insight. Like, this is the home of intelligent black people that live in the Cincinnati area. If you're an intelligent black person and you live in a greater Cincinnati area and you're into talk radio, you should be listening to Nathan Ivey Show. Who else you listen to? Tell me where. You should be listening to the Nathan Ivey Show and what we're doing with Sin Digital Media. Speaking of which, later on today at 12:30 p.m. approximately, Is It Just Me with Donnie B. I believe this is episode, I believe it's 22, but I don't want to say. And Donnie B will be back, and she'll be talking about numerous things, including what went down at Northgate Mall. She's got an intelligent position on it. And also, you know what a hijab is? That's the headdressing that Muslim women wear. And she's got some strong opinions about that and how it impacts modern day women. That'll be today at 12:30 p.m. That's a streaming show. This is completely independent media. There's no local corporate entity that's sponsoring it. This is black owned, black ran, black conceived, and independent to the core. Okay. This is 21st Century Media. You can check it out today in the Sin Digital Media page and the Is It Just Me podcast group as well. All right. Good morning to you. Much more to come. Looking forward to the weeks that come forward. So just a couple of weeks, we'll be talking about Martin Luther King. It's about that time of year again. Get ready for all of that. I want to brace you. Martin Luther King's birthday, right? Not his birthday, but the national holiday. Martin Luther King, that'll be in just a couple of weeks. We'll be talking about that. And then, of course, in February, Black History Month. And all of the local politics. You got primaries coming up in March. A lot of big decisions that people are going to have to make. A lot of very important races. And I plan to be front center, front row. We'll be there together just to give as much insight and education as possible, which I believe I said a little earlier. So no need to go through that. My number is still the same in 2020 as it was in 2019. And that's very simply 513-873-7134. Open your mind before you open your mouth. Other than that, it's all good. How are you? Great to be with you. Again, hope you had a spectacular holiday. And I hope you're still off. How many people are still off? You don't go back to work till Monday. You got one of them good jobs. Better keep that job. Got one of those good jobs. You off? You save up all your little time. Or is that, I can't remember how that works. It's been a minute. It has been a minute. I see that former Cincinnati Bengal head coach Sam Weiss has passed away. Remember that when he said, listen, you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati. Remember that? And people were throwing trash during a regular season, a playoff game or something like that. Yeah, he passed away. Oh, man, it was a lot of people that passed away, actually. Speaking of passing away, at least one Democratic challenger, he wanted to be the Democrat nominee for president, and his candidacy is now dead. And we talked about this individual many times. There was a lot of people in the audience that thought very highly of him. They thought very favorably of Julian Castro. And he is now out. Like I told you, folks, the writing is on the wall. You got 3 candidates from which to pick from if you're going to vote Democrat. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Joe Biden. That is what it is. If you're looking for diversity, the diversity will come from VP and cabinet appointments. But the Democrat nominee is going to be non-black. Get comfortable with that, because that's what it's going to be. That's what it is. Oh, Cory Booker got an outside shot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure he do. Sure he does. Sure he does. Mm-hmm. Well, as I said, during today's show and throughout the show, I want to give you 3 things to look for. Again, I got more than 3 things, but 3 things at the top of my list, which may or may not be on your radar screen, and I'll begin those flows in just a minute. Julian Castro drops out of the 2020 presidential race. You know, there was a lot of things I liked about Castro. There's a lot of things I liked about Castro, and now he's gone because he couldn't garner enough support. It could not garner enough support. And apparently these 3 candidates, Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren, that's who the people want. That's who the people want. 513-873-7134. So I went to go see the latest Star Wars movie with my daughter. I think it's called The Rise of Skywalker. I believe that's what it is. And we had a lot of fun with it. You know, the original Star Wars is of my generation. You know, when I was coming up, when I was younger, that was sort of like the cutting edge, like sci-fi movie with all the cool special effects. You know what I'm saying? It had the great story, which we now understand. Star Wars is, if you want to get like super deep with it and break it all down, Tariq Nasheed style. And then clearly, you know, Star Wars. Now I understand as an older man, the cultural, problems with it. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, white folks are the center of the whole damn multiverse, right? You know what I'm saying? And black folks are just like side pieces, like Lando. So my daughter got into it. I'm not sure how she got into Star Wars. It wasn't something I really pushed her into or anything like that. I think just being a Netflix baby, you know what I'm saying? Being a streaming service child, you know, she just kind of gravitated toward it. And like me, you know, she likes horror movies and sci-fi movies. So it's funny, man. It's like, I make this joke all the time that I created my brand new movie buddy. You know what I'm saying? It used to be my wife was my movie buddy. Now my daughter is my movie buddy. We have very similar taste in movies, even the serious stuff. I mean, medium Buddha, no longer little Buddha, because she's 14 in the 9th grade now, and doing well. She's doing well over in Walnut. She's competing. Her head is above water, and so is her GPA. So you know, she's like my movie buddy now. Like, and I'm telling you, she is a great movie buddy because she's a very intelligent girl. She breaks it all down, and she enjoys it. So we went to go see it together after we spent, I don't know, maybe a week or so just watching all the movies. I hung in there as much as I could, you know what I'm saying? With some of those movies I've seen, it seems like a billion times, but I wanted to be as fresh in my mind. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the hell has happened in these last few Star Wars movies. I have no idea. Kylo Ren, The First Order, I don't fucking understand this stuff. I really don't. There was a time when I understood the whole plot lines, and I don't understand what's going on. But we had a good time with it, nonetheless. We snuggled and watched movies together and laughed together. It was great. The movie itself, you can do better. I mean, you ain't losing. You ain't missing nothing. I put it that way. You ain't, unless you just like hardcore, you got t-shirts and underpants and all kind of shit with Star Wars and Kylo Ren on it. Like, if that's you, I ain't hating on you. Again, really, I'm not hating on you. But that's not me. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the time with my daughter. That's what I enjoyed. I don't know what they were fighting for. I don't know who this Rey chick is. I mean, if I was going to break the movie down from a black cultural perspective and like look at some of the subliminals and maybe subtleties in it, I mean, here we go, where There's one person in the whole multiverse, which is multiple universes, that's got the power. And of course, it's a non-black person. But it is what it is. I don't understand. It is what it is. Oh, man. How was your weekend? I say weekend, but how was your time off? How was the transfer from 2019 to 2020? Did you go out? Did you party? Did you stay at home? What the hell did you do? All right. I would love to hear all of it. And my number is 513-873-7134 if you'd like to share your thought. What the hell was Pete Buttigieg doing? Talking about he must be having some fundraising issues. He was doing this thing where he was like, he wanted people to give the smallest amount possible, right? He wanted to see who could give the smallest amount. I'm like, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my entire life. The hell? I don't get it. I don't get it. Make it make sense. Some great posts inside the Friends page. I appreciate it. Hey, I see Tracy's giving us a call. Let's check in with Tracy real quick. But some great posts inside of the Friends page. You may hear me refer to the Friends page over and over again. It's just a Facebook group where a lot of us get together. It's called the Friends Who Like the Nathan Ivey Show. And you are more than welcome to join and to share the post and interact with the choppers. Let's go to the phones and welcome in Tracy from Cincinnati. How you doing, Tracy?
Hey, Nathan. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
I'm okay. I wanted to tell you what my son did New Year's Eve. So let me set up the backdrop. I am not one that goes out on New Year's Eve. I actually don't really like to be out at all. It just seems like whenever I think of New Year's Eve, I hear that song, The Freaks Come Out at Night. You know, you got folks out there being crazy, driving drunk, whatever. So I had to work that day. And I get home, and my older son is not home. And I asked my younger son, Chad, I said, where's Chase? And, excuse me, he said he went to the mall. And I was like, okay. So, you know, I'm trying not to be this helicopter mom, and because he's 18, and we had already had a discussion about, you know, what goes on at the mall. And he said, I'm not fooling with Northgate and Kenwood because, you know, even though I'm 18, you know, he really doesn't look 18, even with his facial hair. He said, I just don't want to have a run-in with nobody. He said, so I just go somewhere else. This was days ago. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'm starting to cook dinner or whatever, and it's getting dark. And I'm like, dang, I really wish he was at home, but I wasn't going to call with that where you at, what time you come home stuff, because he was out with his friend who's home from the Navy. So he ends up coming home, and he came in with some bags, and, you know, he was looking all happy. And I said, oh, you've been shopping. I said, what mall did you go to? Nathan, why did he say Beaver Creek? I said, you went where? He said, we went to the Beaver Creek Mall. I said,
Beaver Creek
just went to Northgate or Kenwood. Why in the hell would you go to Beaver Creek? Now, we all know whose name is associated with Beaver Creek. And, you know, I said, Chase, I said, that's not a mall for us. I said, I keep telling you, I went to school up there. You know, I'm thinking sundown town, you know, 2 black young males up at this mall. And he said, I wonder why everybody was kind of looking at us funny. And I said, how many black people did you see up there at the mall? He said, 1, maybe 2. He said, these old ladies just kept looking at us. And I'm just thinking, God, I got a lot of work to do. I said,
man,
you know, just Xenia, you know, Warren County, Beaver Creek. Don't go up north, not by yourself, not coming back in the dark. Just avoid it at all costs. So he was just looking at me like, well, I mean, I guess I get it now. I said, you passed the Monroe Outlet. I said, you could have went anywhere else. He was like, we just didn't want to go to Northgate or Tri-County, so we just got in the car and drove. I said, you even could have went to Dayton Mall, like, you know. But Nathan, when your kids get in the car and they start driving, you know, this is the kind of stuff that you will run into. You know, you got to set those boundaries, so to speak, even when they are 18, because, you know, yes, they can get in the car and go, but they have to know where they shouldn't go.
Right. They have no idea of history.
I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, thank you. I know
Say that again?
I did. They have no idea of the history of things that have happened. They have no idea of that.
Right, right. And all I could think was, every time I drove up to Wilberforce, I got a ride up to Wilberforce. We went straight up 71. You saw the big barn with the Confederate flag with the burnt cross in the field. And I'm like, you went to Beaver Creek? Like, you passed all of that? So, yeah, I just wanted to let you know what happened in my house New Year's Eve.
Well, I'm glad he's okay, and thank you for the story. I appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Yeah, most def. Wow. When she said Beaver Creek, I think I had a response. I was like, what? Beaver Creek? But that's the naivete of young people. Our son don't have no context. He don't know about what happened. He's not even, that's not his mentality. We teach kids that, hey, equality and all that kind of stuff. They have no idea. Beaver Creek. But there's so many things to take from that. One of them is, like I said before, Northgate Mall. These malls are losing money. Because look what's happening. So what's happening is and maybe that's the point of it all anyway, is to turn off young black teens. I tell you, if it was a crowd full of white teens, I don't think there would have been the same reaction. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. That's how I feel about it. Could be wrong. They're losing money, but they don't care. Kids get in free at Newport Aquarium through March 1st. Thank you so much, Carolyn. I appreciate that. I am not going to tell my son because I don't want to go back down there. I'm just going to be honest with you. I ain't got nothing against Newport. I'll work with them. We could be partners, a whole 9 yards. But, until they really, really upgrade, some of the stuff that they got there, I've seen it all. The last time I went there, what I realized is that it's the same as it was when I was there like 2 years before that. So nobody tell my son they got free tickets. Don't tell nobody in this household. Because if he finds out, he's going to make me go back to the Newport Aquarium again. And I don't want to do that. I'm going to be forced to do it as good daddy rules. I got to take them. Man. And they need to just freshen up the whole aquarium. Just somebody come in and just new carpet, just freshen it all up. You know what I'm saying? Because it smells like 1 million people have gone through there. And I have a very sensitive nose. I'm sorry. So don't tell anybody don't tell my son about that. Okay. I appreciate that. And I mean it. I really mean it. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. If you live in the Cincinnati area, there are some job opportunities in the greater Cincinnati area, and I posted them inside the Friends page. So if you or someone might be looking for employment, please check it out. Check it out and share. Do your due diligence. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. Anybody got any great stories? I love a good story. Anybody got a great story? New Year's, end of year, Christmas, something? I know you got a great story. I'd love to hear it. This could be a great opportunity for you to call into the show for the first time on the first show of the new year. I was not with you yesterday. I had to make an executive decision. I was not with you yesterday. So I love a good story. I'd love to hear. I know something interesting when you're out and about. Did you see something? What? Your children, maybe your family member. I know something happened. And please share. Please share. Good to see you. Yeah. Cincy Tigress is first inside the Chop Shop this morning. And thank you for being here, Cincy Tigress. Good to see you. Followed by Brenda. Brenda writes, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, Brenda. And Tracy, who we just talked to, says hi. And good morning. Ray writes, grand risings all. Mr. Marler writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Hashtag 2020 vision. Getting what I'm spitting. Hashtag bombs over Baghdad. I'm looking forward to it. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. First TGIF of 2020. Well, you know what? I didn't think about it that way, but you're right. This is the first TGIF for 2020. Gotta do something special. I'm not sure what that might be. I'm not sure. Miss Tiffany writes, good morning. Happy New Year, all. Happy New Year to you. Did you see the video that the groom played of his wife, his bride, cheating on their wedding day? You seen that video? Would you like to hear it? Because I can't show it to you. I'm not streaming the video portion of the show today. Pamela writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Happy 2020. You know what? I'm trying to figure out like what would be a happy 2020 to me. Like, I mean, I know what makes me happy, obviously, but as I look forward to 2020, I don't know. I like saying 2020. I do. I like writing it. I like typing it. When I type it, write it, or say 2020, I feel like I'm in the future. I like that feeling. Jared writes, good morning, hashtag team and I. Karamia writes, TGIF morning all. And Brian writes, morning, happy new year, hashtag GSW 2020. You know what? At least you not a bandwagoner, Brian. I appreciate that, man. You still rolling with them guys? That's because you see potential. You know that all you're going to do is sit down for this year, Brian, and next year GSW will be locked and loaded. They'll probably have a high draft pick. They're grooming a lot of the young players right now. Matter of fact, they got a player on the GSW, Golden State Warriors, that's leading all the rookies in the league in points. So the future looks bright for Golden State fans. If you're a Golden State fan, it looks very bright. Kelly writes, good morning. Happy New Year, Nathan. And the Choppers, good morning. And Happy New Year to you as well. Good morning. Tony's in the house. Sissy Tigers writes, last day of vacay, grind resumes Monday. See, she got one of them good jobs. See? I mean, I don't know. Like, if you can swing it, why not take off Thursday and Friday and just come back on Monday? But again, that's perfect scenario. Not everybody has it like that. And there's people that work today. It's fucking Friday. You know what I'm saying? But you're like, wait a minute, what's that mean? It's a work day, right? Damn, last day of vacay. Man. Do you find that it goes fast or it goes short? Like when you've been on vacay for like 2 weeks, that last weekend, I mean, it's so that last weekend, and again, not to jump into any of your experiences, your nightmare or anything like that, Sissy Tigers, but that last weekend, like you've been off for a while, and then that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it's so bittersweet because it's the weekend and you love it, but it's like counting down the last days. It's not good. But it's good that they pay you, though. That's always good. Nothing like being on vacay and getting checks. Nothing like that. Brother Muzon writes, good morning. Karamia writes, little Buddha would do well in life. She's from a good family. I hope so. Oh, Lord, it's so hard to keep these teenagers in line. It's so hard dealing with these fools at her school. It is so hard sometimes. But I'm built for it. I got no problem. Jerica writes, hola, beautiful black people and the others too. Karamia writes, 2020, I swept out my closet of friends. Blocked a lot of phone numbers. Really? You blocking phone numbers out here? I'm glad I made the cut. Mrs. Love Being Black writes, good morning, fellow beautiful people. Same to you. Angela writes, salutations and Happy New Year. Brother Muzon writes, wow, not Beaver Creek. Right. You can tell he just don't know. He just going to the mall. He probably Googled mall, right? And the mall's kid was like, oh, Beaver Creek, maybe they might have some sales out there. You know what he was thinking? Oh, they might have some sales out there. I'm going to go out there to Beaver Creek with the white folks where everything is cheap. Like Black Life. Angela writes, bless his heart. Thank God he made it home safely, Tracy. Someone writes. Drops in the house. He writes, good morning, Choppers. Another hashtag POC, person of color. Julian Castro drops out of the desperate Democrats race for White House. 3 old white guys and an old white/Indian guy are the faces of the party. Democrats have all the good white folks. Do blacks and Hispanic votes really matter in 2020? 5 to 8% of hashtag ADOS is all it takes to hashtag KAG ? I'm not sure what KAG means. What do you have to lose ? What's in your wallet? Well, good morning to you as well, Drop. I appreciate it, man. He said 3 old white guys and a desperate white and an old white Indian gal are the faces of the party. And he's right. He's right. Where does that leave you? We'll find out. Brother Mazone writes, Nathan, did you check the video of the mother whose son committed suicide by walking in front of a train? I tagged you in it. Her story is heart-wrenching. And he had a scholarship to go play football at Georgia Tech. Really? I did not see that. Really? Oh, I'm looking for the tag right now. Damn. I don't like hearing that, man. These black folks that happen? Oh, man. I see it. I see it here. Oh, man. Oh, man. I don't even want to click on it. I'll look at it, man. It's hard to look at. I hate to see people in pain, especially people that look like me. I don't know. Was it CTE or something like that? He had a scholarship, full ride to go play football, and he walks in front of a train. Oh, man. Thank you for the post. Thank you for the post. I'll check that out. I might even play that, man. It'll have me in tears. I hate to see shit like that. Mason Muller writes, in interviews, people in the crowd described a white America under threat as racial minorities typified by Mr. Obama, the country's first black president, gained political power. They described Mr. Trump as an inspirational figure who is undoing Mr. Obama's legacy. Is that right? He's undoing Mr. Obama's legacy. Is that what Trump thinks he's doing? Yeah. Well, I mean, on some levels, yeah. On some levels, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what he's trying to do. You know, you mentioned ADOS, and as I said, I mean, there's a, I don't know if it's a big fight, or let's just say there's a beef between the founders of ADOS, and there continues to be criticisms and assault. I told you folks that you know, each one of us is going to have to determine how we look at all that shit. So ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, is getting a lot of traction over the last year. It was created by two black folks, Yvette Carnell and a brother named Antonio Moore, a.k.a. Tone Talks. He does a YouTube channel, and he has a show and has a YouTube channel. And they started ADOS, right? And they're trying to rally, you know, ADOS, American Descendants of Slave. They've had two conferences, you know, one this year, one the year before that. Matter of fact, it was in Kentucky, not too far from us. We're in Ohio here. And, you know, that's like the new, you know, black movement for some people. But then you got a guy named Tariq Nasheed who started his own thing called Foundational Black Americans. I think it's called FBA. And essentially, you know, it's almost like a competition, but they've been beefing pretty hard back and forth. And I got a chance to see Tariq Nasheed's video a few days ago. I think we talked about it. And then I saw Yvette Carnell's response on her YouTube channel. And so, again, you know, it just kind of works that way in the black community, where you got these two entities that, instead of combining their forces, are bickering over dumb shit on YouTube. That's what it really comes down to, you know, calling each other names and shit like that. And in terms of like entertainment factor, I'm about that life. Okay, you know, do it up. But it does sadden me that instead of these colossal forces working together, at least rhetorically, they're working against one another. So the claim about ADOS, and I've heard multiple, is that it's an LGBTQ movement because Yvette Carnell is a lesbian, I believe. I don't know if it's true. This is what is put out there. And there is some rumor about Antonio Moore as well. A lot of stuff was put out there by Tariq Nasheed, and he's criticizing them. And then on the other side, you got Yvette Carnell saying Tariq Nasheed is one of these dudes that just want to be famous. So, you know, he's writing books about being a Mac and being a pimp, and, you know, he's doing all this stuff just because he wants to be famous. He wants to be somebody. That was like her main critique. And she went back and she found a video clip of Tariq Nasheed when he was in a documentary with Michael Moore. You may or may not remember this, but I do. And with YouTube, you can't forget shit. Everything's out there for everybody to see. So let me take you back here for a little bit here. I mean, so Michael Moore is a documentarian, and you know, he many years ago he's done a lot of documentaries that were pretty good, but he did one many years ago in which Tariq Nasheed played a role. You know, Tariq Nasheed played a role in Michael Moore's documentary. And maybe that's where he got the idea of doing Hidden Colors, because of his experience with Michael Moore, who was a white male. You ever heard of Fahrenheit 9/11? Yeah, that guy. That guy. Fahrenheit 9/11 was, oh my God, you had goosebumps. You walked out of here like, I knew it. I know it. I knew it. The rise of the neoconservatives. Remember this, Fahrenheit 9/11? And it was a very critical look of the Bush administration, 9/11, the invasion of Iraq, and all the stuff that happened. You know, that was Michael Moore. And that's not his only, movie. He's done a lot of stuff that, people will call upon probably to the end of time. Let me think of another one that you might remember. And this is when he really got on my radar screen, and that was Bowling for Columbine. Remember Bowling for Columbine? When Michael Moore he got deep into the whole gun culture, and it was deep. It was real deep. He was attacking the National Rifle Association and just really, giving people a lot of information that previously they didn't have. And he also did one called Roger and Me. He's done a lot of documentaries that Capitalism, a Love Story. Maybe you remember that or something like that. He's had a lot of them. We did one many years ago in which he was trying to make a point that essentially, congressmen are bought and paid for. And so he brought Tariq Nasheed in to be the pimp. So Tariq Nasheed, the same brother to do Hidden Colors, the same brother, super black guy. Tariq Nasheed played a pimp. And he was standing in, some of the more traveled, spaces, right? And intersections in Congress. And they had a film crew there. And what he would do is, like, Tariq Nasheed was dressed up like a pimp. The whole, hey, what you doing? The whole 9 yards. And Michael Moore was trying to show that essentially the politicians are prostitutes and they've been bought and paid for. And so that's how Tariq Nasheed was like coming at these guys. Check this out.
And a politician. A prostitute gives clients sexual favors. A politician, like Congressman Bill Thomas, gives corporations political favors. A prostitute takes money from guys who can't get any, whereas a politician like Tom DeLay takes money from guys who can't get enough. Prostitutes go to jail for turning tricks, while politicians stay out of jail by using their bag of tricks. A prostitute makes $30,000 a year the hard way, whereas a politician like Senator Frank Murkowski makes money the easy way. $120,000 a year from us, and a couple $100,000 more from hard-up oil executives. Actually, the only difference between a prostitute and a politician is that a prostitute has a pimp keeping an eye on her, and a politician doesn't. Until now.
Anybody can say there's a pimp. I go to a club and a lot of young guys, I'm a pimp,
That's Tariq Nasheed.
But you can tell in the attitude. I even wrote a book on the game, man. I got a book. I'm one of the 5 pimps in history to actually have a book about the game. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm so well known around the country. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the brother who right now is like #1 black man. He's a #1 black man, blackity black, love the black kids, but 15, 20 years ago, he was a #1 pimp. And Yvette Carnell brought that most recently out and kind of reminded people about that. And I don't know. It depends on my mood. I can make a strong argument that, hold on now, we got a contradiction here, Mr. Black Man. How is you being a pimp good for the black community? But I guess, he's woke now. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna find no videos of me playing a pimp online. I'm just saying. But I guess it's better to be the pimp than the prostitute, huh? I guess. I don't know. Is it fair to bring this up? Yeah. You did it. Just like it's fair to people to post those photographs of the first lady. Didn't she pose naked? Yeah. It's fair then. As simple as that. Let's get back into this pimpology with Tariq Nasheed.
Besides my impeccable pimping skills.
So do you think the way I'm looking at this is off, or do you think it's on? Because I look at Congress, I see them selling themselves out. We've tried so many things to get some order. Yeah, well, it's all failed. So you're like the last resort, all right?
Yeah.
If you can go down there as our pimp and bring some order to this house of ill repute, I think America would applaud you.
Will America applaud a pimp? I'm going to show
if
them
you
how
do that,
I don't know. They might. So is it better to play a woman or a pimp? Which is worse for a black man to do? Is it worse for a black man to like do the Medea route, the Big Mama route, the, fill in the blank with all these comics and entertainers dressing up as women, or to play a pimp? Which is more destructive for the community? You tell me. Now, this is a long time ago, but I think it's interesting. I do.
If you slap them around a bit and get them, knock some sense into their head, and at the very least, if they're going to be whores for the people.
Okay. Well, I will pimp for America. How about that?
And here's Tariq Nasheed, a.k.a. K-Flex, with his white woman. Professional pimp. Like, literally. I'm not making it up. Literally, he's like standing here next to his what? She must be his bottom. Well, you can fill in the blank. Go get a pimp.
When I get my Mac on, I like to learn some of the local customs. So I went to visit one of my homies. He's an expert. That's Nick Nyhart over at Public Campaign. He knew all the players on my new block. Slick Nick, I want to get some of this Washington, D.C. lingo in my Rolodex. What's a campaign contribution?
A campaign contribution is a sum of money given.
It's a campaign contribution. Man, that's what the hell it is. What's a campaign contribution? So I don't need to go through all of that. I think some of you probably seen it, but I had almost forgotten about Tariq Nasheed's past until Yvette Carnell brought it up. I mean, it's quite interesting. Like I said, I'm about that entertainment. For entertainment, I'm about that. It ain't talking about me. But these are the new leaders, huh? Okay. I don't know. You tell me. Are you a Tariq Nasheed fan? Did you ever see this video? You know what I'm saying? He went from being a pimp in a white man's documentary to making documentaries about how, about the black experience. And I think the Hidden Colors documentary is like A1 though. I mean, nothing can take away from that. But it's interesting though. Very interesting. What are your thoughts? Don't know. That's what I've been doing over the break. Let me see here. You are not capping shit, Thought Squad. Young Americans are gonna die over dumbass Trump move. Thought Squad. Okay. A new poll finds former VP Joe Biden with a small lead over President Trump in Florida, a battleground state Trump narrowly won in 2016. A Mason-Dixon survey released Tuesday finds Biden with a 2% point advantage over Trump's 45%. The poll has a 4-point margin of error. Well, he's got a 4-point margin of error and he's 2 points away. I mean, that's so close. I'm surprised they even reported it. I mean, how useful is that? 2% difference with a 4% margin of error. So what they're saying essentially is it could swing. It could actually be 2% for Trump. These polls, man, these polls. Since the Tigers' rights dropped, Trump ain't gonna bust a grape. His fat ass won't be the one on the front lines. He's no Barack Obama indeed. Trump wants war. He might. Every time Republicans get in the White House, they always want to go to war. You ever notice that? Marlon writes, good morning, good people. Brother Mazon writes, is Trump going to grab a gun and go fight Iran? No, his fat ass is going to be chilling in Mar-a-Lago, sending troops to death. That's exactly what he'll be doing. Yeah. The people that die in America's war are typically poor kids. It's typically, not the wealthy class. Because if you were born with a lot of money and your parents have influence, then either you're not, or two things are going to happen. Either you don't want to go do that because you got a great life, or your parents will manipulate the system to make sure you don't go. Look at Trump. Trump had bone spurs. That's how he had, he kept getting deferments because his ankles were hurting. His feet hurt. Couldn't go to war. Brother Mazon writes, an unpopular president just declared war. Distraction. I will agree with you. I agree with you completely. That's all that is. Nothing more than a distraction. But this happens it happens all the time. A Republican gets in the White House. They got to press the war button. Mike Davis writes, "Rise and shine, young stars. Good to see you. Who's the face of the Republican Party? I'll wait. Where is Herman Cain and Ben Carson? Mental health issues with mom and son. The other two brothers are probably suffering PTSD at the very least. At the very least." Speaking about that young woman or the mother who lost her son, he walks in front of a train. When you walk in front of a train, you're really trying to wreck yourself for real, for real. So, well, I mean, here's the reality of it. There's a lot of undiagnosed trauma. There's a lot of people dealing with shit from their childhood that goes unresolved or is suppressed, or they compartmentalize it and they think they got under control. Depression is widely undiagnosed in our community, especially among men, because of the stigmatization of asking for help. These are real issues. Mental health is real. It is real. He was 6'2", 207-pound wide receiver. He had great potential. Him and his family were homeless. Wow. You never know what this man had to do. And like I said, P. Diddy most recently put out a video, right? He put out a video saying Happy New Year's and all that kind of stuff. And immediately people started to say that he was trying to come out the closet, because the big rumor is that P. Diddy is gay. Now, I don't give a damn. I'm just telling you what's put out there. I don't care one way or the other. Right? But in the video, P. Diddy, this is P. Diddy, right? You would think from the outside looking in that P. Diddy has an excellent life. But he lost a longtime friend in 2019, the mother of his children, Kim Porter. She passed away. That's got to be devastating. And he said he was dealing with long-term depression. What? P. Diddy, Mr. Bitch Assness, Mr. You better walk and go get me some cheesecake. That guy is depressed. The guy with all the platinum hits and the money and Revolt TV. Wait. That guy. So, I mean, you can look at things from the outside looking in and think people are so together, but you never know. You never know. It's very unfortunate. The firstborn son felt guilty for leaving the family homeless and just under mom's tutelage. That's pretty tragic. A 17-year-old being the man of the family, that's very tragic. Because at 17, you're a kid. A 17-year-old is a kid. That's a child. Right? 17, minor. And my daughter's 14. Like, she's going to develop over the next 3 years and get more mature. But just think about that. 17 is closer to 14 than it is to 20, in my opinion. Just saying. Anybody on southbound 75? Apparently there was 2 crashes this morning. If you have to get on southbound 75, just a heads up, they're saying it's slow go. You're down to 2 lanes. And they had a couple of accidents, just to give you a heads up if you're traveling here in the greater Cincinnati area. Let's see. The mom made the video in front of the other son, shaking my head. That's no bueno, depending on what it is. So are they comedians or black activists? Mason Mahler writes, being a Mac and being a pimp? What the F? Yeah. That's Tariq Nasheed. Yeah, he was a pimp back in the day. For Michael Moore, he played a pimp. And I get it. I mean, part of it, I get it. It's like, okay, so the politicians are bought and paid for, so we're going to treat you like you're a prostitute, like, what you really are. And, who better than a black man to portray the pimp? And so, Mr. Mahler writes, I remember Bowling for Columbine. That was a chilling movie. That was chilling because Michael Moore got really deep into the details of what was happening with these 2 young white kids that killed a lot of people in Columbine. And I don't remember all the details. I just remember it was chilling. And at the end of the day, the commentary was that it's just too easy to get your hands on weapons of mass destruction. And it was deep. It was deep. We're frightened as a community in our care of one another. Remember when Charleston Heston said conservatives are getting ready for a race war? Moore exposed the Republican Party. I do know they despised him. Trump is a John, period. Angela writes, setting certain actions in place will beget those sort of things, in my opinion. People have the right to change. 15, 20 years ago, I wasn't the person who I am now. When you know better, you do better. Jericho writes, how is what Tariq did in the past impact his movement right now? Regardless of his past, he is empowering black people and educating people about who they are. Well, Jericho, overall, I would agree with you. I would agree with you on some levels. But I only bring this up to say that, this is like a modern day, I guess, friction that involves a movement that we spend a lot of time talking about. We spend a lot of time talking about ADOS. And Tariq Nasheed is saying that ADOS is basically fraudulent. He's saying that ADOS is fraudulent because of the people who are running it. And because of the things that they've done in the past. So I think it's fair to examine what he's done in the past. I think that's fair. To me, I think it's at the very least, it's ironic that a brother that's the number one black man, he's all about wokeness, was playing a pimp in a white man's documentary 15 years ago. I think that's ironic. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like that's like a huge contradiction. You know what I'm saying? And you're right, though. People do grow and they do change. You're right. But I don't know if they do that much. That's a hell of a change there. So again, Tariq has been criticizing ADOS. So then ADOS, Yvette Carnell, she starts criticizing him and start talking about stuff that's in his past. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what to make of this. You know what I'm saying? And it might come down to a personality context, like, do I like them or not? Because that's how most people make a lot of decisions. I like them. And if they like them, they'll make excuses and I'm rolling with you and stuff like that. I get it. I guess we all guilty of it. I get it, but it's very interesting. The question would be, would Tariq Nasheed play that same role today? And I bet you he say no. And if he says no, that means that it's something that he probably ain't proud of. I don't know. He might be proud of it. I don't know. If I ever talk to him, I certainly will ask him. Yeah. See, let's be real. There was a certain someone who had an indiscretion years ago, and you, Nate, said it was not right for it to be brought up because people can change. Really? I don't even remember okay, refresh my memory, Jerica. I don't think that compares to this, though. So personally, maybe I can glean something from this and try to figure out what you're trying to say here. So personally, I don't get into people's personal picadillos, who they having sex with and all this kind of stuff. I hear all kinds of stuff. I've been told all kind of stuff, but I don't bring it to the airwaves because it's none of my damn business. And, I just, if we talk about politicians, I like to talk about the policy. So sure, I've heard a lot of things about people that's still relevant today. I never speak on it because, number one, I don't have no evidence. And number two, I'd rather talk about the policies. That's what really matters to the people. Now, the personal stuff, it can get ratchet, and I might look at it. I might like the thread, but in terms of me promoting it with my voice, I'm just not going to do that. I'm just not going to do it, whether it's somebody I like or don't like or whatever. I'm just not going to get personal with people like that. That's different from what we're talking about with Tariq Nasheed. Tariq Nasheed has been criticizing Yvette Carnell and Tone. And again, I'm not taking any sides here. I'm just presenting what's going on and trying to provoke a conversation. But Tariq Nasheed has been criticizing ADOS before what they've done in the past, who they are. I think it's fair then when they start bringing up some of the stuff he did. And the point they were trying to make about Tariq Nasheed is, again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again, is Yvette Carnell is on some, this guy just wants to be famous. He just wants to be in the limelight. So whether it's being a pimp, whether it's being the leader of a band or the leader of a black movement or whatever, that's what they were saying. You know, it ain't me saying it. I don't know. I don't feel that way necessarily, although I think it's very ironic. I think it's very ironic. But let me go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. This is your West Side Connection. Checking in this morning from the left coast, also known as the People's Republic of California, on this fine TGIF day, the first TGIF in 2020. Mr. Ivy, thank you for taking my call. And, sir, you have some outstanding topics on the table. Thanks to the contribution of the choppers in the chop shop. How are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing excellent. How about yourself, Drop?
Oh, I'm doing good, sir. Thank you for reading my post this morning. And I would just like to add that clip you played of Tariq Nasheed from one of the early Michael Moore documentaries is just proof of what I've been saying all along, that what you are witnessing between ADOC, Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Tone Talk, and the acting that Tariq Nasheed did in that Michael Moore documentary is nothing more than race hustling and poverty pimping. Now, Mr. Ivy, if I need to explain to you what those terms mean, race hustling and poverty pimping, you need not go any further than to check the name Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, the two OGs of race hustling and poverty pimping.
What about Ben Carson?
That now, Ben Carson is a world-renowned brain surgeon.
No, he was.
Mr. Ivy.
He was a brain surgeon.
No. Mr. Ivy, that is who he is. He has only been involved in politics the last 5 years.
Right.
So
that's who he is.
Check that.
That's who he
Please
was.
Check that.
So just to be correct here, that's who he was. Right. He was a surgeon. Now he's a step and fetch it blackface for Trump and a poverty pimp. He just pimps poverty in a different way.
No, Mr. Ivy, first of all, you're talking about a black Republican, which is very few in this country, or at least very few who have the balls to admit it in public. Now, when I talk about race hustling and poverty pimping, you find it very convenient to bring up a world-renowned brain surgeon who could go into the operating room right now and save someone's life. So, Mr. Ivy, you are being intellectually dishonest when Ben Carson is the only name you could come up with as a comparison to a race hustler and poverty pimp.
Would you let Ben Carson perform surgery on you right now?
Yes.
Oh my God, I wouldn't.
Mr. Ivy, the man is a world-renowned brain surgeon. Let's stop, because see, you are exercising that muscle that is very worked out, that is called radio talk show host. So it is very clever how you try to sway away from the subject or the topic of your caller. And that topic is how you just exposed what race hustling and poverty pimping is all about. Because, Mr. Ivy, the current feud that's going on between Yvette Carnell, Boyce Watkins, Tone Talk, and Tariq Nasheed is only of interest to black people. White people on social media are just being entertained. Now, who's sending money to those four entities through PayPal or Patreon? I guarantee you the money is coming from white people. But the listeners and the people who are consuming the race hustling and the poverty pimping are black people. But see, Mr. Ivy, there's a different breed of black people on social media today. Okay? And the age group of the old Negroes like Glenn from Mason, they are on talk radio. They are not participating heavily in the venues of social media like the 18 to 35 and the 35 to 40 black people who are out there getting that bag and have been woken up. You like how I said that? Woken, a.k.a. stay woke. They have been woken or awoken by the first black president, Barack Obama. almost 4 years, 3 years removed from 8 years in the White House. Those young black people, 18 to 35, 35 to 40, they were very young people when Barack Obama came into the White House. Their first image of a president was that of a black man. And Nate, I guarantee you that what we are witnessing today with those 4 black people on social media is just a symptom of what is happening to the black electorate in America. And we will find out for sure in 2020 when Donald Trump is on the ballot. Not what happened in 2018, because Donald Trump was not on the ballot, Mr. Ivey. But in 2020, with this booming Trump/Obama economy, with this booming unemployment, which is America's almost at full employment, Mr. Ivey, with the industry and manufacturing coming back to this country, with the deal that was signed with Mexico and Canada, with the deal that is going to be signed, I think, January the 15th with China. The tariffs have worked, Mr. Ivey. Our stock market is at an all-time high, Mr. Ivey. Check your 401k, Mr. Ivey, because I know you're putting away the max by you being self-employed entrepreneur. So double check with your tax man to make sure you are maxing out your contribution. Because, Mr. Ivey, if Donald Trump gets reelected in 2020, what's in your wallet? Now, Mr. Ivey, I appreciate you allowing me to get this out, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be haters all over the place. But, Mr. Ivey, I have receipts, okay? I could go back to the almost 2 years on your show, Mr. Ivey, and everything I've been saying about the economy and about putting me before we, because if I shine, we shine. 2020, the decade of #MBW, me before we. Put yourself first to quench your thirst, because the Democrat Party is the worst. Drop Squad 52, dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it debt free in 2020. Peace.
That would have been a dope verse in 1986. That would have been a dope verse in 1986. Appreciate the flows, though. That man. And that black man right there. Oh, my gosh. He's just never going to let it go, huh? Well, at least we know he's consistent. He's consistent. I'll give him that much. 513-873-7134. Number one thing to look forward to, in no particular order, in 2020, of course, is political season. I'm not even talking about what happens in November nationally. Let's put the national side, issues to the side. Okay. Locally, wherever local is for you, there's going to be races. Perhaps there'll be races in primaries in March, as there will be here in Hamilton County, here in Cincinnati area. I think we need to raise awareness as much as possible, because we're talking about the near future and the politicians and the policies that are going to impact us into the near future. I mean, just put the national stuff to the side. If you know someone who's still resistant to voting, don't even bring up the presidential election. Just talk about what's happening wherever they particularly live. Now, when we get to November, we're talking about, who's going to be the president for the next 4 years. And the question has to be only one question. Do you think that Trump deserves another term? Period. If you think he deserves another term, then you got to give strong consideration to it. And if you do not, then you're going to be looking at challengers like those being offered up by the Democrat Party. I don't know who's going to win a nomination, but they're not going to be black. They're not going to be a person of color. You can take that to the bank. So the diversity will have to come from VP, cabinet positions, things like that. The elections happening in 2020 should be high on everybody's priority of what to watch out for, what to be interacting with and what to be looking out for. What's happening locally, what's happening with you. Okay, where you live. You might live in Cincinnati. You might live in, Kentucky. You know, you might live in Philadelphia. Wherever you are, there are politics that are going to govern where you live. Start there. That's where you start. You start right there. You know, if the presidential politics, the national stuff is just too big and it just seems like, you know, you really can't have any impact on it. But you can locally. That's what I would say. Okay. All right. I see somebody's turning 40 today. Okay, looking good out there. All right. That's right. I'll tell you something else that's on my radar screen that may or may not be on your radar screen. And this has less to do with politics and more with maybe like pop culture. But there's an interesting new Netflix series coming out. And, you know, I think that this is going to get a lot of attention and people will be talking about this. And Netflix has become like, you know, one of the centers of gravity for what's happening pop culturally, right? So Netflix just unveiled the first look of something that's really got my nose open, right? I really want to check this out. It's called Self-Made. It's inspired by the life of Madam C.J. Walker. And in it, Octavia Spencer stars as a trailblazing African-American hair care entrepreneur. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be super, super, super interesting. And I think there's a lot of people who have no idea about Madam C.J. Walker. I think this story could be inspiring for a whole new generation. And I'm looking forward to seeing it and see what it looks like. Now, it was written by Madam C.J. Walker's, the story itself. Well, okay. So the Netflix series is titled Self-Made, inspired by the life of Madam C.J. Walker. Octavia Spencer will play Madam C.J. Walker. Okay. And who was America's first female self-made millionaire, if you don't know. The Netflix series is inspired by the book On Her Own Ground, The Life and Times of Madam C.J. Walker, which was written by Madam C.J. Walker's great-great-granddaughter, a woman by the name of Aaliyah Bundles. And if I mangled her first name, I apologize. That sounds very interesting. It's going to be a 4-part limited series, and it's got some names that people might recognize that's going to be starring in it, like Blair Underwood. You know, everybody still loves Blair Underwood. Tiffany Haddish, Carmen Ejogo, some of those names you might remember. Let me see here. Bill Bellamy. So a few names there. I think it'll be very interesting. I can't wait to see it, and I hope they do it right, whatever the hell that means. Oh, man, that's on my radar screen. I want to see that. I don't have a date for you for when the series actually hits, but I think it's going to be in late March. Matter of fact, I do have a date for you. It's March 20th. It's going to be a 4-part series. It's going to be interesting. Let me move on here. Some more news. This is not necessarily top news or anything, but I did read this, and it seems like it's the end of a series of stories that we spent a lot of time talking about. And I guess it just speaks to drug addiction and just how awesomely powerful it can be. But Bobby Christina Brown's former boyfriend, remember this guy, Nick Gordon? Remember this guy? Now, Bobby Christina Brown is the child, or was the child, of Bobby Brown and the late Whitney Houston. Now, we all know that Whitney Houston basically, you know, she took herself out the game with drugs. And that's what happened. And it looks like, anybody remember that show they did, the reality show? I mean, I remember watching it like my mouth was wide open. Like, I remember that was one of the early reality TV shows. And it was Whitney and Bobby. And it was a train fucking wreck, boy. It was a train wreck. Because what we found out was just how, you know, much the drugs was a problem after watching the show. You know, and it's funny because they did the same things in those early, you know, reality shows they do now. They be like, you know, going to the park or going to the club or sitting at home, or they going on vacation. So Whitney had a drug problem that we now know spans back to when she was a teenager. Maybe it wasn't a problem then, but her drug use started as a teenager. and her daughter died of a reported overdose. And now, and a lot of people looked at this man as being responsible for Bobby Christina's death, Nick Gordon. Now, he died of an overdose. 30 years old. He died on New Year's Day. So I guess he was, trying to get high and got too high. Yep. 3 years after the death of Bobby Christina, and remember Whitney Houston, that was just such a terrible thing, man. Damn drugs. And then, black don't crack. In fact, the only thing there's a few things that can crack black, and one of them is crack. You ever heard that term? Black don't crack unless you're taking crack, and it'll crack your ass like a fucking egg, quick. It's true. Even if you're wealthy and famous, like, man, that's just a sad, tragic story, man. Like, everybody's dead from drug overdoses. Very, very sad. Very sad. Clue Magic writes, Big Daddy Kane told us a long time, anything goes when it comes to hoes because pimping ain't easy. Jericho writes, Tariq is also an entertainer. So again, I agree. I'm not trying to get down on the brother. I just thought that it was ironic from where he is today to being a pimp for Michael Moore in his movie. I thought it was very ironic. And I will say that Tariq is more of an entertainer. I look at him that way. I just look at him as an entertainer that, was on some pro-black stuff. But he's got a video out right now called Projecting Dustiness. Have you seen this? In which he superimposed the face of Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell onto the bodies of Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. You didn't see this? You didn't see this? And, this is what, New Black Leadership is doing. Digital Black, this is what they're fighting each other. Arguing over, I don't know what they're arguing over. I guess who's going to have the best conference, I guess. I guess those things are important. I'm dying off this audio clip. To YouTube I go. Yes, it's on YouTube. Speaking of audio clips you're going to die over, this is
fun show day. We're going to have
Tariq Nasheed.
Let everybody know that we're live right now.
Oh, we know you're live. Now, this was recorded, I don't know, last week sometime or a few days ago.
Is doing all these little devious deeds. So they wheel her out to start attacking black men. So don't forget that. Look that up. Yeah, this was around 2006. You dig? But anyway, let's get down to business. And by the way, everybody hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't gone to HiddenColorsFilm.com, go to HiddenColorsFilm.com and watch and download Hidden Colors 5, available now. Now, let's see.
I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's
They're
dope.
going to have black men who's doing all this sagging. Oh, they're going to.
Yeah, but I want to know how you feel about it. Like, how do you feel about the ADOS movement? Considering that there's like people like Tariq Nasheed that's criticizing them and people are saying they've been infiltrated and things like that. I mean, how do you feel about it? I'd like to know. How do you feel about Tariq Nasheed and foundational black Americans? I mean, can't you just support both? I don't think it has to be like either or, right? I don't know. What do you think? Black Rush is in the house. He writes, Super Tuesday is March 17th, hashtag alt middle. Ray writes, Trump and Ron DeSantis will give the white Hispanics startup bread and programs. Watch. Mason Marler writes, so new black leadership are former pimps? Maybe Marion Barry can make a comeback. Well, he's not a real pimp. I think he was, well, I don't know. Maybe he was a real pimp. As a former employee of the Hamilton County Coroner's Office, people who die by train isn't pretty. Oh, boy. You seen that, Mason Marler? Yeah, I can imagine there's not a whole lot left. Mason Marler writes, Birdman is gay. Birdman is gay? Is he? Isn't he married to Tony Braxton? Aren't they engaged or something like that? I think so. Black Russian writes, Biden might not be the nominee. If Bernie wins Iowa and then New Hampshire, it's over. Angela writes, the coaches knew he was homeless, and since he had good grades, he was able to leave school in December and start college sooner. Mike Jones writes, money gives you short-term happiness. Tanika writes, having money doesn't cancel out mental illness. Sometimes I think we forget that people are human. Tariq Nasheed has King Flex, K Flex Productions. He's the author of Dating, Finding a Woman, The Mac Within, The Elite Way, and The Art of Macking. Tariq is trying to find his niche in life. Right. And that's what Yvette Carnell said about him. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what she said. Dennis Goldford, a political science professor at Drake University, warned against equaling the February caucuses with delegates and ultimately victory. That's because Iowa caucuses do not produce delegates who choose their party's nominees to the national convention. Those delegates are chosen and awarded at the state party conventions in early June. Iowa doesn't really pick who will become president, but rather who will not become president. Oh, interesting. Thank you for that. Somebody writes up, Bowling for Columbine was excellent. Yeah. See, Angela writes, Bernie has Nina Turner whipping folks into a frenzy. She's hype as fuck for the white folks. Is she? I know she was a strong voice. For Bernie Sanders last time around. Because remember, I did a show from the Republic, it wasn't. I did a show called The Tale of Two Conventions. Alicia Reese and Nina Turner. Because Alicia Reese went to the Democrat convention in 2016 and became a star. She was doing all kind of stand-ups and she was doing stuff and leading stuff. They loved her. Nina Turner basically was like, they gave her the gas face. In here criticizing Hillary. You know we in the bag for Hillary Clinton, boo. You didn't get the email? You don't remember this? And apparently they sat her ass down like, come here. Come over here. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. And that was it. I'm not making it up. That's what happened. See, Jekyll writes, so Tariq is not highlighting what they did in the past. He's also shedding light on what they are doing now. Yeah. He is. He says that Yvette Carnell is a lesbian who is in a relationship with a white woman. And he said that Antonio Moore is suspect, could be gay. Like, I hear you, but I'm just not really sure who to believe. You know what I'm saying? Who do I believe? Black Russia writes, I don't care what a political scientist at Drake says. Iowa usually picks their nominee. We've seen it with HRC, Obama, and Kerry. Is that right? I have issues with Tariq and his juvenile behavior sometimes, but it serves to bring certain people to his message, which usually is on point. Yeah, he does get juvenile, but that's one way of looking at it. You might say juvenile. The other you could say this is like, 2020 entertainment online. He does impressions and voices and all that kind of stuff.
So I changed the language around a little bit, but she was taking credit for that. She was like, yeah, I stopped that. And Tone, I retweeted somebody. Tone was on his little, one of his little Facebook group trying to get people to come over and troll on my page on Twitter, and some of his own followers on Facebook was like, nah, dude, we ain't doing all that, bro. We fuck with Tariq. So we got these little niggas doing this little sucker shit behind the scenes. When you do that, and Yvette is taking credit for this stuff. She's on Twitter bragging about how she messed up, how she sabotaged the Kickstarter campaign. When you do stuff like that, that's agent shit. That snitch ass government informant agent type of stuff when you do that.
So what is Tariq not talking about? So apparently Tariq Nasheed was trying to raise money on Kickstarter, but they have a rule where they don't do anything that's political. And he's raising money for something that's inherently political. He's saying Yvette Carnell, I don't know, maybe she called him or brought attention to him or flagged him, and he had to take it down off Kickstarter and put it somewhere else. I'll say it again. I'll say this again. I'm for that entertainment value of it, but it would be better if they were they would posse up, team up or at the very least, not criticize one another. But again, that's just the way things go, though. That's the nature of the beast. You know what I'm saying? If Tariq Nasheed wasn't doing that, he'd have less followers. Part of the reason why he has as many followers as he does is because of the way he talks and what he does, because people like that. It's the truth. The past indiscretion landed that chopper on the sex offender registry. Oh my God. We bringing that up again, Jericho. That's old news. And it's not, how is that relevant? That is not relevant to what Tariq Nasheed is doing, or the fact that Tariq Nasheed played a pimp in Michael Moore's movie 16 years ago. That's not, one has nothing to do with the other. I don't see the comparison. I'm struggling with that. I don't see it.
ADOS paintings with rainbow backgrounds. And notice some of the people that's following so-called ADOS now. It's a lot of people with these little LGBT flags, or some of these people who are a little zesty.
Zesty?
It's another Black Lives Matter. They turned it into another Black Lives Matter. Let's hook up. We're going to act like we're going to talk about black issues, but we're going to get together and really be trying to hook up with each other. That's all that is. So we got to watch these type of people. We got to watch these type of folks. And we got to understand that these people, they've been losers all their lives. They've never had anything successful that they've done. Tone was out here trying to brag where he's an Emmy Award nominated producer on that Freeway Rick documentary. That's his only little claim to fame. And what it is, they gave him a name credit. Tone didn't produce that documentary. They just kind of gave him a name credit for whatever reason. He might have introduced somebody to somebody else or whatever, but he somehow got a name credit. He might have done some legal work. I don't know. He's not a good lawyer, but he didn't direct. He didn't put any money towards, because usually the producers are the ones who put money on things. So he definitely didn't put no money on nothing because he has none. So he's going around talking about he was a producer who was Emmy nominated. So what they did, they nominated that film for an Emmy. It didn't win, but they nominated it, and they listed all the producers as the nominee. So that's his Emmy nominated. It's matched.
I mean, I see how we tear each other down. I mean, I get the entertainment part of it. I mean, he does some impersonations later on. It's some pretty funny stuff. I get it. But they going back and forth, and it's like, y'all should be worrying about, I mean, I guess white racism. I don't know. But that's the state of new black leadership with these groups anyway. I mean, again, do you identify with ADOS or FBA, Foundational Black Americans? You tell me. 513-873-7134. Let me see. Black Russia writes, I forgot more politics than you will ever know, Warren County. I live this shit. I run with gladiators. You sit in your armchair in Mason and quarterback from there. Hashtag alt middle. Oh boy, here we go. Black Russia writes, Biden isn't a slam dunk for the nominations. Yeah, you're right about that, Black Russia. I think we've all come to realize that now, like the writing's on the wall with Biden. Earlier in the year, it looks like it was his to lose. And maybe he did that with his performance in the debates, where he came across as less than what people were anticipating. And he could be long in the tooth. He could be past his prime. I'm not really sure, but you're right. It's not a slam dunk. Black Russia writes, Nick was just happy to be mentioned. Make them feel important, I guess. Oh, boy. Oh, they're going back and forth. Black Russia's going hard now. He writes, you think I give a F what other people do, Warren County? My life is cool no matter what people think or say about me. You do a lot of talking from the birds, but ain't never to be seen in the trenches. Hashtag alt middle. Oh boy. He writes, yeah, we know about your life. ... Great job, Brownie. Oh boy. Let's see. They're going back and forth. Drop a text to black Democrats and praise the cooning black Republicans. I dance. Well, you know the rest. And that I Dance for Massa, that was a Tariq Nasheed production. I say the guy's funny. Tariq Nasheed is funny. I give him a hella credit for that. I'll never forget when he did that with Roland Martin. I don't know what he was beefing with Roland Martin about, but, and I remember seeing this. I remember seeing the Roland Martin show was News One Now, and he was dancing with Hillary Clinton. I thought, oh boy, why are you doing that? Check this out.
So they'll act down once they get around black folks. See, that's the trick, see, once they get around black folks, oh, they down. Oh, yeah, brother, black power, brother. Yeah, man, we're going to have to challenge the system. Yeah, brother. Oh, we got to challenge that system. Man, we got to deal with this. Man, we're going to have to call these people to task. They're really, really down when they're around other black people. But the minute they get around some white folks, oh, Miss Hillary. Oh, so good to see you, Miss Hillary. I love you, Miss Hillary. Welcome to TV1. Oh, Lord. I dance with NASA. I dance with NASA. I dance with NASA.
I'm dying over here, y'all. That is hilarious. This shit's funny as hell. And the video is even funnier. He said TV. He said, welcome to TV1. He is nuts. Oh my God, man. See, that's why you gotta like Tariq Nasheed, because he makes you laugh. I don't give a damn if it's been Michael Moore's movie or not. That was hilarious. And I like Warren. I like Roland Martin. But dude, he said, welcome to TV1. That is classic. Run that back.
Miss Hillary, welcome to TV1. Oh, Lord. I dance.
He said, welcome to TV1. Oh, Lord. That is hilarious, man. That is funny stuff. I needed that. Jesse writes, he stayed up all night writing that. Lil Drop X can't tell me nothing right. Oh, man. Anyone catch the R. Kelly Part 2 last night? No, I did not. I did not catch R. Kelly Part 2 last night. I did not. And what did I miss? You know, who did this? Yeah, I do know that there was some quotes that came out of it. Quote unquote, Aaliyah was a sacrificial lamb. What? That's Dame Dash who spoke out about it. Everybody loves Dame Dash. I think. I don't know, maybe you hate him. Yeah, they're going super hard at R. Kelly. I'm like, I get it. You know, listen, they're going to doodle because it's going to make money. It's on Lifetime, so there it is. R. Kelly, 52 years old, has already entered not guilty pleas to more than a dozen sex crime charges filed against him in federal courts and 2 in state courts since February. So it looks like they got R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? That's what it looks like. And it's looking bad for him. It really, really is. And apparently, you know, he was dating Aaliyah until she died in a plane crash. Remember Aaliyah died? That was so sad. Beautiful sister. And messing with this predator. Happens all the time. Not good. Not good whatsoever. So no, I didn't get a chance to watch any of it. That's all I know is that Dame Dash says something, and I know there's a part 2. It's called The Reckoning or something like that. I don't know. It's like, what more are we going to learn about R. Kelly? Like, we know it. You know, he likes underage girls for whatever reason. There's men like that out there. Now, for me personally, I don't understand it. When I was 18, I didn't necessarily want an 18-year-old one. I wanted somebody older. You know, and now that I'm in my 40s, other than sex, what am I going to do with an 18-year-old? What we gonna do? Nothing. What we gonna talk about? Nothing. So, but there's some men out there that like that. They like young girls. They like to get a young girl they can put underneath their thumb and try to mold them and make them into what they they got that pit mentality like Tariq Nasheed used to. LeBron has produced that movie. His Spring Hill Entertainment Company is behind this. Big shout out to Bron. Is that right? Angela makes an excellent point. Funny how they're on part 2, but we can't get a 15-minute short on Weinstein or Spacey, right? Spacey out here, as a homosexual man hitting on other men on the work site and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, Kevin Spacey was the star in a really, really cool Netflix series called House of Cards. Really dope show. I mean, the first 2 seasons are classic. After he ascends, it goes down here a little bit for me, but as he's going up, like it was great. That first season was classic. They effed it up. He effed up. They had to cancel the series because this fool was dealing with allegations of, some Me Too type stuff. Somebody says they fell asleep on it. Yeah, I mean, Tanika writes, excessive alcohol cracks black too. You're right about that, Tanika. You're so right. You're right about that. People need to stop excusing black sexual deviants because they aren't investigating Weinstein. A sexual deviant is a sexual deviant. Is that right? Nate, please post that link for Taring's rant. I'm seeking more laughs in 2020. Okay, hold on 1 second here. I'll post it for you in real time. Give me 1 second. There we go. Here he is. No, I have to do all of that. All right, give me a second and I'll post it. It's hilarious, man. You ever want to laugh? Just look at that. It's hilarious. And then he did some cuts of the actual video when Roland Martin was dancing with Hillary Clinton, and he made it seem like he was doing like a little 2-step back and forth, doing like a little ditty. Oh, man, it's hilarious. He's wrong for that. Mason Marler writes, run with gladiators, ? Is that a job? Does that pay bills? I'll wait. Yeah, he runs with gladiators. That's Black Russia. Says he runs with gladiators. I don't know what that means. I just figure he means he runs with very highly successful people, I guess, or highly motivated people. That's cool. Mason Marler writes, that's that stupid ass hood shit that don't make any effing sense. Mason Marler writes, that shit is funny as hell. I'm rolling. TNT's in the house. Good to see you, TNT. Ray writes, I know many black men in the trenches and still maintain a household. Pat writes, still funny. Nate, can you play that every time Drop calls in? You didn't play this?
I dance with NASA. I dance.
He is wrong the way he got Roland Martin dancing around on here. It is hilarious. My favorite part, he says, welcomes to TV1.
Black people. But the minute they get around some white folks, oh, Miss Hillary. Oh, so good to see you, Miss Hillary. I love you, Miss Hillary. Welcome to TV1. Oh, Lord.
I dance with NASA. 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 I dance with NASA.
He is so.
Welcome to TV1.
He needs to stop, man. Stop. This is a serious show. We talk about real issues here. Let us move on. Did anyone see Insider Job? It's about how the financial industry set out to defraud the ordinary American investors. Insider Job. I don't think I saw that. Let me look it up real quick. Insider Job. If you want to search for it on YouTube, search this. Just type in Tariq Nasheed. I dance with Massa, Massa, and it'll come up. I know that you are very into it. That's the first thing you're gonna do. Inside Job. Inside Job. I'm trying to think. I want to say that I did see this. Inside Job. Or maybe not. Maybe I didn't see. No, I don't think I saw that. I was thinking of another movie on a similar topic. K. Michelle spoke on a little bit about R. Kelly and what she said if she got to taking everybody going to jail. Tanika writes, I agree with you, Nate. It's amazing to see all these pro-black people with documentaries and such, but they get off on degrading other black folks. We are stronger together, right? That's what's remarkable to me. I mean, you know, you got Tariq. He's super Mr. number one black guy. But I see him going, I can't say that I don't see him talking about and trying to educate people about what he sees about white supremacy and racism and stuff like that and the role of black people and things like that. But some of the things that trouble me about Tariq Nasheed is his stance on voting is stupid. You know, you're going to tell me I should watch your documentary, but I shouldn't go vote. It doesn't make any sense. It's just intellectually it ain't even dishonest, man. It's just fraudulent. That's one. And then he attacks a lot of black people. Now, maybe he's defending himself. If he's defending himself, that's different. It's 5 parts to the part 2. 5 parts to part 2? Damn, so that means they're going to spread it out over the whole week, huh? Damn. Why is all this black entertainment and Hollywood male gayness coming out now? That's a drop. Iris writes, good morning, great people. Hey, Iris, thank you so much. And thank you for all your help with the show and everything you do. I appreciate it. Tracy writes, Nathan, are you following the Victor Cousins and John Gray stories? I am, kinda. Like, I'm following, you know, what Andrea has been posting. She and I talked, and she gave me the 411 on what was going down and what was going on. She even told me what's going on with Larry Reed. Yeah, man. Yeah, it ain't good. And again, I don't know what's going on with these individuals, but the drama, John Gray, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. I mean, it ain't looking good at all. I don't know what John is doing. TNT writes, it spoke more about what happened to R. Kelly when he was a kid and the Chicago mafia-style tactics used to shame the victims. Okay. Cassandra's in the house. She writes, hey, Choppers, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. The banjo music, right. He went and found some banjo music. He is hilarious. I know plenty who love them some whiteness too. Shaking my damn hell, LOL. Tracy writes, man, it's too early for the banjo-ish. Mason Marler writes, you are killing me. Got people in the office looking at me like, what's wrong with this dude? I'm cracking up. Iris writes, the Citizens Complaint Authority beat Joe Dieters in court with a decision in court and got their authority back to interview officers. If anyone wants to read the decision, I think she's saying, let me know. Dan Hill's lost on this one. Yeah, I did hear and read about that. And I think that's good for the people. Yeah, judge came in and said, nah. So that means that all this time it was wrong for the prosecutor to make the decision that the Citizens Complaint Authority could not interview officers until after the whole trial, the whole thing basically was over with. And it just goes to show you why we need prosecutors that are going to make decisions that are best for the people, not just best for law enforcement, not just best for the system, but what's best for the people. Mason Marler writes, hey, Nate, I'm in the trenches too. Just got 2 computer screens and a laptop working at the same time. Hashtag trench life. That's hilarious. Yeah, it's hilarious. And if you wanted it, you would know that they are about to create a surviving Jeffrey Epstein. So there go your inclusion of white men perpetrators. Can people take the victims of R. Kelly serious now, or do the women have to be white too? Interesting. see. Brother Muzone writes, I'm taking my daughter to basketball practice and she's cracking up at that I Dance to Master song. Yeah, that's one of Tariq Nasheed's best. She has a better handle than you, Muzone. That's funny. Nathan Ivy, it's my honor. Thank you. Healing well after surgery. The show helps. Absolutely. Yes, great. Great to hear you are resting up. A Schuler writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Did anyone else care about possible World War III on the horizon to distract from impeachment? No, you're not the only one. Other people have brought it up as well. And it appears it is something that is on everybody's radar screen. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens. Again, this is one of the reasons why I didn't want Trump in the White House. I just didn't trust him. I didn't trust him at all. There's a brand new movie that is actually bombing at the box office, and it's called, I think it's called Bombshell. Are you aware of this movie? It's called Bombshell. And really, it's all about the white female employees at Fox News and how they challenged the toxic male culture that led to the downfall of Roger Ailes. So Roger Ailes, and again, it's just so interesting that all this stuff is coming out now because I peeped it a long time ago. A long time ago, I started a line of thought in which I was giving Fox News props because as I analyze Fox News is not just about media. Fox News and a lot of their shows is about sex. They get these young women, they wear these short skirts, and then on the camera, they make sure that you can see the whole full body shot. You can see the legs and the thigh and everything. That was done by Roger Ailes intentionally for two reasons. Number one, for his own sexual interest. And number two, because news and shit can be very boring. So what he figured out is if you want to keep people on the station, you get some sexy women and you put them on. There's a show right now called something. It was one of my favorite shows on Fox News. And it was an all-female show. And it was one of my favorite shows because I like the discourse and the dresses. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm like, oh my God, they're selling sex on Fox News. So now since then, everybody's gotten hip to it. They know that's part of Fox's formula. That's part of the reason why Fox beats MSNBC is because Fox put beautiful women in short dresses on the screen for a long time. It's true. You turn on there, they got showing cleavage, they showing leg. All of this stuff was company policy, like what the women wore, the length of the dresses, the glass tables. Got a glass table so you can see through it, right? You can see the legs under the table. But apparently nobody wants to see this crap. You know what I'm saying? You know, nobody went to go see it. It's bombing at the box office, so it'll be on Fire Stick like today. You know what I'm saying? Has anybody seen it? I'm just curious as to what the movie might be like. Let me see. Absolutely. Minister of Info's in the house. He writes, what's up, Nay? Hey, good morning to you. Hey, just as we're ending here, Terrence writes, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, Terrence. Whereas I did see where they were talking about that movie, but this isn't the first movie or documentary about him that's bombed. Drop writes, I'm a dance my ass to the ATM. That's funny. He writes, I don't dance, I boogie. Okay. You're going to boogie. So you boogie for Massa. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Get your boogie on then. You're going to boogie for Massa? You go right ahead. Okay, so some more local news. I'm going to talk about some local news until we end the show here in the next 5 minutes. I'm reading that Paul Sohi has resigned, citing family members. Apparently, he put out a tweet and resigned. Paul Sohi, a.k.a. the Prince of Darkness, because I'm convinced that he is, in fact, Dracula. Just listen to his voice. He is, I'm joking. So Paul Sohi, who served as Chief of Staff for Hamilton County Commissioner Stephanie Summerall Dumas, is out. Huh? tweeted that he's going to be leaving his post. He did this just yesterday. Now, if you remember, if you go back to almost a year ago, let's go back to February 2018. Paul Sohi filed a discrimination complaint against the commissioners, against the commission's other two members. So you had the chief of staff of one commissioner who files a complaint, a discrimination complaint, by the way. And did we ever really have, I know we talked about it on this show because we were brave enough to do that. But I don't know if other talk shows talked about this in the sense of, I'll be honest with you, my first thought was, is there any legitimacy to his discrimination complaints? He filed a discrimination complaint against Denise Driehaus and Todd Portune. Now we know Todd Portune is now leaving, retiring. He's fighting cancer. Denise Driehaus is on the commission. That was a year ago. And now he is resigning. What? Quote, I was advised that being yelled and screamed at is part of the job, for which I stated I will not allow it. How many people have a job where you allow people to yell and scream at you? Because I'm not about that life. Here it is. I have resigned from chief of staff position today to focus on personal family members. I'm going to reach out to Dr. Paul Sohi to see if he might want to come on the air and talk about it. Since he's no longer going to be employed there, he might feel inclined to do so. What the hell was going on inside the local Democrat Party? The Ohio Civil Rights Commission dismissed Sohi's allegations after finding no evidence to support them. But think about that. That's a pretty big step to take. Here you are, the newly minted chief of staff for the first African-American female Hamilton County commissioner ever in history. And you file a discrimination complaint against two longtime, very well-liked and well-known Democrats, Denise Driehaus and Todd Portune. Just because you don't have any evidence doesn't mean that something didn't happen. That's number one. Because, how do you have evidence of somebody having a conversation with you if you haven't recorded it? How do you do that? How do you do that? So what the hell is going on with Paul Sohi? He's out. Why did he leave now? At the beginning of the year? Who's going to replace him? What's going to happen with Stephanie Summerall Dumas? Is she going to get the support of the Democrats if she wants to be reelected? Is there shit going on behind the surface that nobody's really talking about? Very interesting. And he did not, hold on, I got to get on him a little bit. Let me go back to Dr. Paul Sohi's Twitter page right now. Yeah, that's the latest thing he got up. He said he's out of here. I ain't dealing with y'all nonsense no more. I'm out. Man, very interesting. I wonder what happened. I don't know. Maybe you do. R. Kelly have been running through young girls for decades and treat them like subhuman. Little black girls can be our daughters. So I don't care about what white media ain't doing. In this situation, it's about class. Rich men who can take advantage of poor, young, immature girls. She's exactly right. I agree with you. That's why I stopped rocking with R. Kelly. That's why I don't play his music. I had to just disavow myself because I'm not rolling with nobody like that. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Ray writes, no yelling and screaming at me, period. How about a rich black man? Rich coon? OMG. Who wants to be a rich? What? Drop writes, rich coon or broke ass Negro? Huh? Mason Marler writes, goes to show Dumas chief of staff started off on some bullshit. That's one way of looking at it. I don't know the story, though. Literally, I don't know. If I did, I would tell you. I have no idea. All I know of what I've read through the media, to me, it just looks bad. And it offers up a lot of question marks. I mean, does anybody know Stephanie Summerall Dumas? Has she been out front and center? Matter of fact, I'll just reach out to her and see if she might come on the show and talk about it. You never know. You never know. Listen, it is 10 a.m. this morning. I've got to make a move and have an excellent day. Make sure you check out the Is It Just Me podcast later on today at 12:30 p.m. approximately. All right. Power to the people. Have an excellent day. And remember, winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning. And we'll talk real soon. I'm Nathan Ivy, and I'm out.